Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with allthingsbbq.com, and this is Barbecue Chicken Bombs. Well, Happy New Year everyone. It's 2019, we made it, and the best way to kick this off is with some barbecue. So we're gonna be making this chicken dish today that consists of a breast that's been pounded out, stuffed full of cheese, wrapped up with bacon, and smoked to perfection. I'm gonna start off by making our cheese filling that's gonna go inside our chicken breast, and that starts with 4 ounces of cream cheese. It's been softened to room temperature. Then we've got about 2 ounces of pepper jack. You guys could use whatever kind of cheese you like, but I'm choosing the pepper jack for this recipe. To add a little bit more heat, we're gonna add, let's say, about a teaspoon of our Grinder's hot sauce. And then we're just gonna put a little bit of barbecue rub in there. And today we're using the Plowboys Yardbird barbecue rub. So we'll give that a mix, make sure everything's kind of distributed evenly, and then we're gonna throw it in the fridge while we pound out the chicken breasts. That's right on point. Just the right amount of saltiness from that rub, just a touch of sweetness. We're gonna throw this in the fridge. We softened it down so everything would mix really well. But we wanna cool it off a bit so that it doesn't all run out of that chicken once we get it stuffed in there and on the grill. Next, we're gonna get into trimming up and pounding out these chicken breasts. So I'm just gonna take any of this extra stuff off the edges here. We don't actually want to use this tinder in this recipe today because it typically makes a little hole once you actually pound this out where your filling can kind of leak out of, so we'll save that for something else. So just kind of find that line of where that tinder connects to the breast and follow that right up the side. You get rid of that cartilage from where that joint was, where the wing connects to the breast. And then what we want to do is actually kind of try and split this thing in half before we start pounding on it. So we're going to come right to the center. Not going to cut all the way through because we want this to all be one big piece of meat. Kind of press that out. Now that'll make it a little bit easier for us to get it nice and thin. Next, I'm gonna load our breasts one at a time into a gallon-sized bag. And then we're gonna take the smooth side of your meat mallet and just gently start pounding on it. Not using too much force because we wanna make sure that we don't tear any holes in this. And as we're working this, we're kind of pushing and pulling to sort of stretch the meat out into the shape that we're going for. All right, now we're just gonna very gently remove this. Remember, you've kind of tenderized that meat now, so if you just go and yank it out of there, you're probably gonna put a hole in it. We've got a pretty even surface. We haven't worked all the way through the meat, so that's what we're going for. You can kind of pound on the thicker parts a little bit harder, but be a little bit delicate in the center there so that you don't tear it. See how we did? Oh, we got a little hole in this one, but that's all right, we'll kind of patch it up. So if you need to do a little patch job, what you can do is take some of that tinder, cut a sliver of that, and kind of place it right over the top of that. And that'll help prevent some leakage once we get our cream cheese stuffing in there and get this thing wrapped up. So now that we've got that chicken pounded out thin and we've given the cream cheese about 20 minutes to cool down, we're gonna go ahead and assemble this thing. All right, so I'm gonna take half of that cream cheese, put it right here in the center. I'm not gonna be seasoning this chicken. Remember, we've got barbecue rub in here and we'll season the outside as well. And then you're just gonna look for the best possible way to kind of fold this all up. Ideally, there would be no cheese exposed because we don't want it leaking out. But we've got something else to help with that. We've got the bacon. Now, before we get the bacon involved, let's just put a little bit of barbecue seasoning on the outside, again with the Yardbird. Not gonna go too heavy on that. And then we're gonna lay out our strips of bacon. So we're gonna kind of try and follow the shape that our stuffed breast is in here, our chicken bomb. I'm gonna go with one long piece this way, and then we'll go 3 in the other direction. And we can kind of weave these in here so they stay put even better. So we just transfer our chicken right onto there and start wrapping this up. So pretty enclosed right there. We've got good coverage on the backside where the seam is as well. That's ready to go on the grill. So as you can see here, the purpose of the bacon's kind of twofold. The thing that it really does physically well is it encases this entire thing so that our filling stays in there. But of course, also, it tastes awesome. We're cooking these barbecue chicken bombs on the Yoder Smokers YS640 pellet grill today, and it's running at 225. So we're gonna run this thing at about 225 for an hour so it can really soak up some smoke. And then we're gonna crank it up to about 400, 425 degrees with our griddle in place so that we can crisp up the bacon on the outside. All right, so here's the setup. We're gonna start off on the second shelf here. But you can see we've also got our griddle in place down low, and the door from the 2-door diffuser is removed so we can get some direct heat on that griddle. Well, the chicken's been smoking for about an hour now, so we're gonna turn the temperature up to 425 so we can crisp the bacon on the griddle. To give you guys a look, you can see it's already taken on some of that color from the smoke, but this is definitely still raw, so we've got a little ways to go, but we've done a good job of wrapping these up because we haven't lost any filling yet. I'm just gonna leave the chicken in place while we turn up the grill temperature, and it can stay inside the grill while this comes up to 425. All right, we've got this grill up to temperature, so we're gonna transfer these down to the griddle. Flip these over and crisp up the presentation side first. I'm just gonna pull this shelf out of here, make this a little bit easier to maneuver. Nice, look at that crisp. Perfect. Grab myself a spatula here to make these a little bit easier to move around, and so that we're not squeezing on them too much to where the filling might come out. Now you can see over here in the thicker end of things, we're still sitting in the 130s. So I'm going to close the door on the grill so we can continue to bring the internal temperature up. I'm just gonna kind of keep rolling these guys around to try and get our bacon crisp on pretty much everywhere it's exposed. Well, feeling pretty good about the color and the crispiness of the bacon, so I'm gonna move these off to a more indirect spot where the bacon won't continue to crisp up so much. We still wanna bring that internal temperature up to about 155, 160. And while we're waiting on that, I'm gonna go ahead and brush this with some Firebug grilling sauce and let our barbecue sauce tack up on the outside. All right, I've kind of been rolling these around to make sure that they cook evenly and we don't lose our filling. Just touching up the sauce a little bit here, but we're just about up to temp. Yeah, we're just getting into that 160 range. So I'm gonna pull these off before we start losing any filling. Well, I'm really excited to slice into these things. Hopefully we're gonna cut into this thing and that filling is just gonna pour out. Oh yeah, look at that. Just oozing right out of there. Beautiful, juicy. I mean, how could the chicken not be juicy with all of that cheese in there in the middle? Let's have a taste. Ooh. So tender, juicy. It's got just the right amount of spice for me. And I think the barbecue sauce, that sweetness on the outside, is what really finishes it off. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out allthingsbbq.com for all of the products featured in today's video. If you enjoyed the recipe, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to allthingsbbq.com/thesauce. All Things Barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.